Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining me today. It's Allan Labucan. I'm the founder and host of the show and of the Allan Reports. As you can see, the website here, if you're finding this show from some link, I've been doing a series of shows recently. This is the third episode, and something I've been making a lot of points about is that it's a good time to be bullish on gold and bearish on the US dollar, and that this will be beneficial for the price of gold due to the weakness in the US dollar, other commodities like silver, and plenty of others. And everything is really sort of lining up quite nicely for us when it comes to the fundamentals of supply and demand. Strong demand coming from China and India. They have an insatiable appetite for gold and silver. I often hear these some of these experts talk about why you don't want to have gold, and it's like they don't quite understand that it's not just inflation that people buy gold for. The people in India and China are in many cases buying it to adorn themselves. That you'll never see again. That will be a family heirloom for forever. And so there's strong demand coming as those economies grow. They keep consuming more. If supply and demand were all that was moving the price of gold, I think we would see it much higher right now based on those fundamentals. But you get into these periods where emotions, fear and greed start running the market, and things can get out of whack. And I think we've seen that. I think right now we're seeing that the US dollar since the beginning of the year has been under pressure. That's no coincidence. That's also when Donald Trump took over. Gold has been recently doing very well. In fact, just today, which is Labor Day in Canada, in the United States, gold was up quite nicely, even though it was a small trading because there wasn't because of the holidays. I expect over the next few days you're going to see gold moving up over $1,350 an ounce. Part of the reason is not only do I think that you've got Trump in the States who continues to want to say and do stupid things that puts pressure on the US dollar. I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. And then now you've got this wingnut over in North Korea testing nuclear bombs. I mean, it's like these two so-called leaders of countries seem to be more like those two characters on Dumb and Dumber, and they're trying to prove which one is the dumbest. I mean, it's pretty incredible that it's almost like a cartoon. You could, when I was a kid, I would expect to see these two characters as part of a cartoon, not running countries that have nuclear bombs. I think there's neither one really wants to bomb each other, because that means a lot of lives are lost and could take North Korea right off the map. I think that it's just more of this, two very how do you say, not so brilliant leaders leading in a wrong direction. And I think that is going to continue to be putting pressure on the US dollar, driving gold and other commodities like silver, copper, other commodities that have very strong supply and demand fundamentals. It's a good time to be a gold bull. It's a good time to be a silver bull. It's a good time to be a copper bull. It's a good time to be into things like lithium that Alset Minerals is in, and potassium. I think it's a really good time to be thinking about the food pipeline of commodities as well, because here's another thing that Trump's doing. He's now trying to send a lot of Mexican people back to Mexico. A lot of those peoples are farmers and doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do, and that's going to create some opportunities in Mexico, I think, for farming, but it's also going to cause supply and demand issues. I said when Trump took over that I thought that there would be lots of opportunities to look for places where his lunacy would cause issues in supply chains of commodities. Food is going to be one of them. Trump is going to learn really quickly who grows the food for Americans, and the problem with that learning the hard way is that you can't just turn that on. You got to deal with Mother Nature and the weather and everything like that. So continue to, if you're a bull on gold, if you're a bull on copper, if you're a bull on silver, if you're a bull on any commodities that have good supply and demand fundamentals, the US dollar weakness is going to continue to have wind in the sails of those commodities. So now I wanted to talk about a few companies. One that I recently brought up on the show, and I'm going to make it an official pick now, a radar screen pick, is GT Gold. They were the one that I told you about last show, where they found some very high grade gold up in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia, and they're still going at it. Since our last show, they had more results out. When I saw the first set of results, I said, it looks like they're drilling through a jewelry store. The grades are so promising, the thick intersections of high grade. It's a very exciting project. I think on any weakness, you want to be building up a position in that company and making it a core holding. You know what this one's reminding me of, folks? It's reminding me a lot of Pretium when I first started watching Pretium years ago. And now they're a gold mining company with a mine in the Golden Triangle. So yeah, they had more great results out. I recommend you go to their website, check out those, and also look at the maps they have. They have some maps that show you the geochemical anomalies, and there's 2 of them. Where they've drilled is just a small portion. They've got lots of room, but here's the beauty with those kind of grades. You don't need big, thick ore bodies to have a mine when you're looking at those kind of grades. They don't come along, these kind of discoveries, very often. Look for weakness to be increasing your position. That's definitely a stock you want to own. Another company, this is sort of the opposite for me, is a company that some of my longtime listeners probably remember. Garibaldi, GGI is their symbol. Garibaldi is promoting that they have what looks like another Voisey's Bay type discovery, but this one's up in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. And they have some experts on. Now, these kind of experts don't always mean you're going to find what you're looking for. These same experts have been involved with another Voisey's Bay 2.0 story of last summer that didn't turn out very good. The hype on this one is very, very strong, but so is the short position. They showed some pictures last week that on the same day that GTT put out their results, GGI put out their some drill results, not the lab results yet, but some drill results. And the market seemed to be stronger for GGI results than it was for GTT. That is crazy, because GGI has not found anything yet. What they've drilled into is disseminated sulfides. It's not massive sulfides. They have not hit a Voisey's Bay yet they're trading like they may have. I think you want to be really careful if you're into that stock, and probably want to take a good chunk of your money off the table. I mean, even if it is a huge success and you've made 5, 6, 7, 8 times your money recently on a lot of hot air, you want to take money off when hot air is priced into the stock. And right now there's a lot of hot air in GGI. Another one that I'm starting to follow closely and get excited about is Dolly Varden. DV is their symbol. They also had some news out last week on the silver front in the Golden Triangle as well that looks quite promising. DV, one of the things that's hard with silver is finding serious projects that have good drill results. DV's one of them. If you're looking for silver projects, that's one you want to keep an eye on and do your homework on Dolly Varden. Go check out their drilling results as well and look at those maps. Those maps give you a visual of what they're looking at depth, what they're intersecting, the kind of grades that they're intersecting. You want to keep an eye on that, so do your homework on DV. Another one I wanted to talk about is one of my sponsors, Premier Gold over there. Premier Gold had some really interesting results out of their Hasaga project, which is in Red Lake, Ontario. What's interesting about this is most of the deposits in Red Lake are low tonnage, high grade, super high grade, kind of things that you're talking about with GT Gold and Pretium. But they've also, what they have there, in addition to a high grade target that they're in partnership with Goldcorp, they have their own project called Hasaga. Hasaga is a big tonnage, lower grade deposit, but what's interesting about this low grade deposit is it has over 1 gram per ton, which is these days having a high tonnage, low grade deposit. That's high grade for a low grade bulk tonnage deposit. Looks really good. You want to do your homework on Premier's recent news. NVO, Novo. Novo's one that I brought up on the last show, and I said that this one's, they're looking for a Wits-Watersrand. Wits 2.0 is what they're looking for. There's similarities between the Archean Craton, where Wits-Watersrand is in South Africa, and this Archean Craton that's in Australia. So I've been skeptical about it. I mean, whenever I hear this could be, you know, 1 billion ounces of gold or something like that, I tend to get a little nervous. But what is interesting is just on Friday of last week, Newmont had announced that they sold 10% of the stock that they own. They had a chance to look at and take some samples there, and obviously they didn't like what they see. And this is happening when tomorrow, a big chunk of private placement stock comes free trading. I think if you're looking at getting a lottery ticket in the next Wits-Watersrand play, Wits 2.0, I think over the next week, you don't need to be in a hurry with NVO. I think you're going to have plenty of opportunities to get it at cheaper valuations than what it ended at on Friday. And you'll see come Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, keep an eye on that if you're looking for cheap opportunities in a Wits 2.0 type of a play. And the final company that I wanted to talk about is also a new pick. I'm making Fjordland Exploration, FEX, a new pick, an official pick as of today, which is September the 4th, Labor Day. The things that I like is, one of the reasons I don't follow a lot of companies when there's been these big marquee players like Robert Friedland involved is usually the lottery ticket to those kind of plays is very costly. In this instance, with Fjordland having the project and Robert Friedland trying to earn into the project, you're getting a chance to buy a Robert Friedland lottery ticket on a Voisey's Bay 2.0 at really cheap valuations. If they have success and get diluted down, they end up with 35% interest, and you'll know by then that they are onto a Voisey's Bay 2.0. I like the work that they've done. I recently had a conversation with Dick Atkinson, who runs the company, and we're going to organize for him to come. I'm going to do an interview with Dick hopefully next week sometime. I want him to explain to my audience all the reasons that he believes why things are getting more exciting for Fjordland. FEX on the venture is their symbol. They, as well as GTT, are both official new picks of mine, and do your homework on them. I like both those companies a lot. One gives you a lottery ticket play with Robert Friedland at not too expensive, and one I think gives you a chance at maybe another Pretium type story, and even at the couple dollar range. Remember, they don't have a lot of stock out, so the valuation relative to what they have is still pretty inexpensive. So those are some ones you want to take a look at. On that note, you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.